This is Land of Havilah, Esther 6. Haman was obsessed and consumed with Mordecai not bowing, so he ordered a gallows made. He plans to get the king's approval in the morning to hang Mordecai, then go merrily to the second banquet. But during the night, verse 1, on that night the king couldn't sleep. He commanded the book of the records of the Chronicles be brought, and they were read to the king. It was found written that Mordecai had told Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs, who were doorkeepers, who had tried to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. Comment in verse 1, the king probably figured the Chronicles would put him to sleep, but the part about Mordecai saving his life got his attention. The king asked the servants who were reading the Chronicles to him, verse 3. The king said, "What honor and dignity has been given to Mordecai for this?" Then the king's servants who attended him said, "Nothing's been done for him." The king said, "Who's in the court?" Now Haman had come into the outer court of the king's house to speak to the king about hanging Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. The king's servants said to him, "Behold, Haman stands in the court." The king said, "Let him come in." So Haman came in. The king said to him, "What shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor?" Now Haman said in his heart, "Who would the king delight to honor more than myself?" Haman said to the king, "For the man whom the king delights to honor, let royal clothing be brought which the king uses to wear, and the horse that the king rides on, and on the head of which a crown royal is set. Let the clothing and the horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man whom the king delights to honor with them, and have him ride on horseback through the city square and proclaim before him, 'Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor.'" Comment, the translation in verse 8 is a little difficult, but it seems Haman is saying, if you want to honor someone, let the king's own horse be made ready with the royal decorative headpiece. The rest of it's not difficult, that one of the most noble officials should array the man to be honored in the king's own clothing, set him on the horse, and parade him through the city square, proclaiming, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." Haman thinks this will be for himself, verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, "Hurry and take the clothing and the horse as you have said, and do this for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all you've spoken." Comment, Haman never had a chance to state his business that he wanted to hang Mordecai. Instead, he'll honor him. We can see now that it was the hand of God keeping the king awake during the night, directing his attention to Mordecai on the very day Mordecai would have been hung. Quote, "The king's heart is in Yahweh's hand like the watercourses. He turns it wherever he desires." Proverbs 21:1. Verse 11. Then Haman took the clothing and the horse and arrayed Mordecai, and had him ride through the city square and proclaimed before him, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." Mordecai came back to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his house, mourning and having his head covered. Comment, Mordecai went to work, but Haman was so upset he went home. Verse 13. Haman recounted to Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had happened to him. Then his wise men and Zeresh his wife said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom you've begun to fall, is of Jewish descent, you'll not prevail against him, but you'll surely fall before him." Comment, Haman's wife and friends put two and two together that even though Haman never told the king he wanted to kill Mordecai, and never told the king he was going to kill the Jews, only saying that there was a certain people who opposed the king that he would kill, no doubt the king will figure it all out, that it's the Jews Haman plans to kill, who are no enemies of the king, and Mordecai is one. Therefore the least he should do to Haman is take away his power, probably worse. Haman and his wife don't know all of it yet, that the queen is a Jew. While Haman's wife and friends were still talking with him, verse 14, while they were yet talking with him, the king's eunuchs came and hurried to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Comment, Haman must be worried as he's going to the banquet. He went from being happy about hanging Mordecai to shocked that he had to honor him, and now to damage control mode because Mordecai is a Jew and he's already issued orders to kill the Jews. Esther 7 is next.